Hey THP, sorry. Wanted to start over a new video and talk about Tuesday night, Wednesday, Thursday, kind of exclusively to themselves. So Tuesday, obviously had the bus ride. Enjoy the bus ride. It's awesome. Talk to as many people as you can. I know I did. Both teammates and Callaway people. It was pretty cool to get to talk to D-Nebs in Austin for what seemed like an hour each. Austin about just kids and family, and he's got a little boy and I believe a little girl. Just talked about that for a while. It's pretty neat. And then talked about D-Nebs' son, who's in this Operation 36 program, which is cool. If anybody's looking into junior golf stuff, it sounds like a pretty cool program. If anybody checks it out, I guess they're nationwide. His kid loves it. Got to the hotel after the bus ride. I was the second last one to check in. I was right in front of Fuffle. And when we got done checking in, I think I timed it. I walked in the door and I had like 15 minutes to unpack, change, shower, and do whatever I could to get ready to go to Al's house. Got back on the bus with a minute to spare, and that is absolutely the fastest I've ever gotten ready for anything in my life. So yeah, went on the bus. It's pitch black. You're pulling into the hideaway, and there's these lanterns and flames all over the place, and palm trees, and it's like you can see stuff, but you can't see stuff. And you finally get to Al's house, and you park outside, and you walk across the street, and you're like, "Where am I? What are we doing?" I think if I had a nickel for every time I said that on this trip, I would be pretty rich. But you walk up this little pathway and you go through this gate to get into Al's house, and of course we had our green master jackets on. Seems like everybody liked those. Walked into his house, and in this dude's house, I've been in some pretty cool houses, I think. I don't know. I think Roger Mances might have been the one that said everything in this house is thoughtfully laid out. There's nothing out of place. Everything goes with itself. Like if I turn my camera around, people would be like, "That doesn't go there. What do you do? What are you doing?" Everything in this house is perfect. Was greeted by him at the door with a handshake and a hug. And then all of the Callaway people that weren't there were inside, as well as our fellow hideaway guests, playing guests, and some other friends. I think we all walked in the door and made an immediate left because there was a bar that was set up. We all got a drink because we were like, well, we're going to need alcohol to figure out why we're here. But what a night. Food was incredible. I can't even remember what all it was. There was pizza that was made in an uni oven by this chef that was very good. There were a couple different entrees. There were appetizers. Maybe the largest charcuterie, best way I could put it is platform display that I've ever seen in my life. For those of you that are foodies, it was massive. And there were probably 5 or 6 different kinds of meats, 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 different kinds of cheeses, artichokes, peppers, olives. It was well done. It was awesome. Sat down, ate, got to eat at a table with my playing partner the next day, Danny. Derp. That was a fun night for you, buddy. We had a great time. They did the pairings, which was cool. Everybody quieted down. My head's all over the place. Al's back patio is pretty legit. I think I posted a few pictures that had like in the ceiling these different, probably 10-foot long built-in. Best way I could describe them as radiator heaters. If you were at a golf range and you needed to have heat, that's what they would put there, except nice. And they were like built into this teak ceiling. anyway. Got through the pairings, and then there was a presentation to Danny from Packers Girl on behalf of our team. I didn't expect. I know why we did it. We did it because he's our brother, and he's had a hell of a rough year. I've got a little girl. Sorry. I've got a little girl, and I can't imagine what a year he had. Let's just put it that way. So it's cool. There were not a lot of dry eyes in the place. I guess some of the Callaway guys were warned, like, this could get emotional, and it was. I was bawling. I'm almost bawling. I'm almost bawling right now, because Danny's such a good dude. So anyway, I'm gonna try and get through this. That's the emotional part. Tried to enjoy the rest of the evening. Tried to let loose, and there was a dessert table which had goodie bags. We took the goodie bags on the bus because it seemed like everybody was just kind of recouping from the speeches. Getting to eat dinner at the table with Nick McAnally was pretty cool. With the backdrop behind us, we were pretty close to the pool. Finley almost fell in the pool, which wasn't on purpose, but it would have been hilarious. He definitely fell down a step or two. Glad he didn't get hurt. But anyway, just some of the stories that Nick has, and some of the information that he's willing to share about the company and why they do what they do and how they do it and who they do it for and the tour and all sorts of stuff, right? Nick this is his second year. He is just as much a part of as the leader, right? Although it's Finley's show, and he does all the planning and all the legwork. Nick, I'm sure, is the one I think that signs off on everything or gets it approved. And it seems like he's all in on this thing, which is awesome. Had a pretty good little speech from Al, as it usually is. Al is, for somebody that is successful as Al is, and I've had the opportunity to meet some successful people. For the most part, they're good people, right? Al is a special kind of good. He would give you anything that you wanted in that house. Cigars, top shelf liquor if you ask for it, anything you wanted to ask for. And you know that as soon as you meet him, right? And you're sitting there talking with him. He would do anything he could, and it's pretty cool that, and not just Al, just all of the member partners that we had in our foursomes. At least I played with Carrie and I played with Stu. Stu hit a couple shots because he wanted to hit the new product, which I thought was cool. But everybody was like, no, I think it's a cool thing to be a part of, and I want to support it and be here. They didn't really want to play. They didn't want to slow anything down. I asked both Carrie and Stu. I said, how many times a week do you guys play these places? And Stu was like, 4 or 5 times. Okay. There's worse places that you could play once or twice a week versus 4 or 5 times. Pretty open with information. Al's just a good dude, and thanks for him for inviting us into his home, which is gorgeous, and being so generous to not only us but the Callaway people, everybody involved. That was a fun night. It was a fun night. So hopped back on the bus, got back to the hotel. I think Tuesday the night we all went to Applebee's afterwards. That was from Al's house to Applebee's. It's a bit of a culture shock. The only reason that I think we went there was because it was right next door. We didn't have to drive. Had a couple drinks, got a little loopy. Some of us were more loopy than others. A couple of Callaway people. Headed back. not super, super late. We did shut Applebee's down, though, for what it's worth. And then woke up in the morning. It's kind of funny. I was on. I don't know what was going on. I was just nothing was happening fast for me on Wednesday morning. I was dressed and ready to go, but then I realized that I needed to switch some stuff over from my old bag to the new bag and different product. And I had left the room, and I realized I didn't have what I needed in the bag. And anyway, long story short, everybody got downstairs early Wednesday because, of course, they're all geeked and ready to go. I was as well. I just, I don't know. I don't know. Somebody told me a time, and I was like, all right, I got until then to get there. And turns out that everybody was waiting for me, and I apologize about that. And then, of course, I took the shortcut. I didn't go all the way downstairs because I forget. I think it was on floor 3. I didn't go all the way downstairs. I just went to the end of the hallway and took the back stairs down because that's where the bus was. And meanwhile, Sean Tevener was in the lobby like, what are you doing? Where are you? But anyway, I get on the bus. Everybody thought Sean was on the bus. I haven't even seen Sean. And the bus starts to roll away. I'm like, wait, is Sean actually on the bus? Because I haven't seen him. And they're like, yeah, he's on the bus. I said, so everybody starts yelling Sean. And behind us is Tebner running down the parking lot, trying to catch up to the bus. Bus stops, hops on. Anyway, bit of a miscommunication. Sorry to Callaway, sorry to the team. It's a good thing I wasn't like 5, 10, 15 minutes late. But yeah, I should have just gotten down there a few minutes earlier. So the team could get there early as opposed to when we got there. Got to the Hideaway. Man, just from a car ride, from a bus ride, that place is incredible when you pull in the gates. By the way, our bus driver, I don't remember her name. She was probably in her 50s, late 50s, early 60s. Like, precision bus driving through this place. You would think that, it's big gates and stuff, but you have to kind of maneuver your way through it. Incredible bus driving skills. I would let her drive anything that I owned ever. So we get through the gates, and that's when everybody's jaws started dropping because you can see through these little vistas, through these little alleyways and some trees, some of the course. And I think when you pull in, the Clive is to your right, and the die. The Clive is to your left, and the die is to your right, or at least partially. Got to the course, unloaded the bus. Didn't have to carry anything to the club because all of their people came out and grabbed everything and took them to the carts. Went into the little side banquet room, and that's where all the sliders were, and definitely partook in some of those. Just as good as advertised. Didn't have like a million of them. I think I had 2 or 3. But they are phenomenal. That little spicy sauce or cheese or whatever it is, yeah, I could go for those again. And then just waltzed out onto the back patio and took it all in, man. You think when you hear it enough from all these people that have been on this trip that it's gorgeous. It blows your mind as soon as you walk out onto that patio. Everybody was taking selfies and pictures and group photos and talking to people. And I think that I had went over to Tebner and I said, hey, can I go down to this pro shop? Because I've got some damage to do. So he went over and talked to Finley. We had to wait a minute or two. And then me and Sean went down to the pro shop. And then slowly afterwards, they were like, oh, crap. Like the rest of the team was like, oh, crap. They went down. We don't want to be late. It turns out that Double B was already in the pro shop with like a stack of stuff. And I said, how long have you been in here? And he said, well, I came straight down here. I've got a bunch of stuff to buy or something like that. And I gave him, I said, man, by the looks of that, you've got X amount of dollars. I won't say what my guess was, but X amount of dollars tied up. And I said, here's my over under. And I was pretty close, I think, right? I think I was within a pretty good margin. for what you bought. I kind of took Wednesday as a day to just go in there, take a bunch of pictures. I picked up a couple things that I wanted to make sure that I was going to have, but I also kind of wanted to see what they put back out the next day. Took a bunch of pictures in there, bought my stuff, loaded up, and headed over to the range. Didn't realize from years past, maybe I just missed it, the range is actually double-sided. We were on the far side of the range, which was cool because it was all to ourselves. These little baskets of balls that they have, wish they were Callaway balls, they weren't, are really cool. The whole range setup is awesome. There's a guy there for every few stands wiping down your stuff. Alignment sticks, tees, ball markers. There's a little station that has sunscreen spray and all that stuff in there. Definitely grab some of that. The putting green is off to the right. There's a comfort station there. So spent some time. First thing I did was chipped and putted. I spent probably 10-15 minutes chipping because I wanted to see how stuff was releasing, and that was helpful because everything was a little firmer than I expected it to be. And quite frankly, the day before I was hitting the ball quite good on the range, so I didn't want to mess around with my swing too much. I did probably take, 15 minutes of swings with irons, woods, and some wedges, and then probably another 10-15 minutes on the putting green, which was also helpful. I think the putting green was a little slower than the die course greens, but packed up. Everybody headed out. We started on 18. The die course is unbelievable. Getting to play with Danny day one, Derp, and Nick and Kim. You can tell Kim has a phenomenal game. She was a little frustrated some of the time, but she turned it on when she needed to. It was an all-day battle. I won't go into the day to every shot or every hole, but it was an all-day battle for Danny and I. We really should have won the front nine. They came out of nowhere with like a hole and a half left on a hole that we screwed up on to take the front side. And then when we played the back, I don't want to say Danny and I or Derp and I thought we had him in the bag, because that's never true. They flat out beat us. We didn't play bad. They just played great. When a guy dunks one from 90 yards to get you to all square, it's kind of like grabbing your heart and ripping it out, and you're like, okay, so we're all square heading into the last hole. Hell of a fun day, though. Man, that course is awesome. I actually really enjoyed it. I think years past they've teed off in the morning. I kind of enjoyed teeing off middle of the day and finishing, when the sun was going down behind the mountains. Just a totally different perspective, and the lighting's always great for pictures. Hopefully everybody has enjoyed the pictures. I tried my best to upload as many as I could while I was in the midst of stuff. And I'll be going back to look at and review a bunch of stuff and answer any questions that anybody might have had. So we got done. We were a little bit dejected, but it was okay. Kerry was playing with us, and I had asked him a few holes ago, and I said, we had like 3 holes to play, and we were up, whatever it was. And I said, Kerry, depending on what happens here, I might need some bourbon. And he said, oh, okay, well, what do you want? I said, I'll take whatever. I like Weller, I like Four Roses, whatever you want. He said, okay. Took about a hole, and he brings out these, like the glass was like this big, right? He brings out 2 bourbons that are about halfway full, hands them to me, and I knew it was too early to drink them. It was a good thing I didn't drink them beforehand, because that would have been a really bad omen for what happened. But we got done, hugged it out with everybody on the green. Couldn't imagine losing to a better twosome in Kim and Nick, because they were class all day, and the way that they took it from us, both on the front nine and the back nine, and they did take it from us. They just took it from us. Was pretty cool to see. He dunks one, and we got to see that all happen. Danny and I are sitting there going, that looks good. That looks really good. And then it hits like 2 hops and goes in. Ran out, gave him a big hug in the middle of the fairway. Anyway, it's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. Got done with our rounds, and we were only a hole away from the 17 par 3 contest. And everybody else was there, and they had kind of started, but didn't do so well in that, but it was a hell of a fun thing to watch. J-Rod is hilarious on the mic. He will do anything and say anything he can to get you to crack. That was a pretty cool little addition to this thing. I don't really remember who ended up being the closest, but I don't even know that it matters, but it was pretty cool to be able to do that. And then, headed back, loaded up from the hotel, or from the course, and headed back to the hotel. Got changed, had a little bit more time to get changed, and ready to go for the nest. The nest. Oh man, the nest. I think that we all kind of mentioned this. There's this weird misconception that the nest is seedy. It's weird. Don't get me wrong, it's weird. And it is definitely for a particular vintage of humans. But there was a good mix. There were people there that were younger than us, older than us, a lot older than us. Clowns. That guy's a jerk. Weirdest dude. Very strange. Didn't say anything. We were sitting up against the back wall, and he went into the bathroom and came out, and he was standing there for a while, and I'm like, I'm going to get a selfie of me and him without him knowing. So I'm there, and he's like back here. I'm like this, trying to take a selfie, and I see him look up. He looks up, and he sees that I'm taking a selfie, and he's like scurrying away over into the corner. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Can I just get a picture with you? Didn't acknowledge me, didn't say a word to me, just looked down and scurried off to the side. So, as I said the next morning on the bus, Double B's out on the dance floor, having a lot of drinks and enjoying his time, and women of his age bracket are coming up to him and being like, oh, nice shirt. And he's like, can we get a picture? And he takes a picture, and I can't even get a picture from the freaking next clown. Ghosted me on a picture. Nest was cool. Nest was fun. If you get a chance to go to the Grandaddy and you don't do the Nest, you're doing it wrong. And don't leave early, unless you're at the point where you're just having too many drinks or something. But go to the Nest, do the dancing. Austin Tudor is hilarious on the dance floor. Our entire team was out on the dance floor. I took a picture when I was, I think I only had to do one shot of Fireball from Luke, which was solid. But I had taken a picture of Fuffle. He's out in the middle of us. He's jumping up and down. And I take the picture back and I show it to Luke, and he's laughing. He goes, I didn't know Fuffles bounced. And if you've seen the movie, holiday movie, I didn't know Bumbles bounced. Yeah, that's what he was referring to. I spit up my drink when he said it, because it's exactly what it looked like. Nest was awesome. By the way, when you're at the Nest, that they're picking up a lot of that tab. Show your appreciation, right? We tried to show our appreciation back to the Callaway folks that were there. By picking up a round or two on us. The team just thought it was the right thing to do, and I know that Say What and I stayed a little bit longer than everybody else, but it was awesome. We enjoyed it. Wouldn't ever go back and change that night, ever, because there was just so much hilarity that was going on with it. Got back to the hotel, sat around, thought about what we did the last couple of hours. Had some drunken food, I think, that somebody had DoorDashed in or something. And went and hit the sack. Next day, woke up earlier and packed up everything. I was all ready to go. Plenty of time, and loaded it onto the bus to go back to the Hideaway and play our singles matches. And my singles match, the foursome, was me, goalie, Paul, and Ethan. And I don't know that I've ever played in a match. First of all, let me talk about Goldie and Paul. They kind of went back and forth all day. Goldie, staying true to Goldie, made some incredible saves. He was literally in the bushes, and just, none of us have any idea. He might have thrown it. No, I'm just kidding. I know he didn't throw it. He hit just an incredible shot underneath these bushes that hit a window that was like this big. Anyway, he stuck with Paul all day, and it was fun to watch. And I know that he and I had a good time playing together. Would do it again anytime, buddy. In my match with Ethan, he would go up a hole, and I would get one back the next hole. He'd get it back, and then I'd get it back, and that went on for like every hole for like 13 holes. If I thought about that day, there's probably 2 or 3 shots that I would like to have back, and I would do it differently, but I don't know if it would have changed the outcome of the match at all. It was just a good, fun, hard-fought, well-competed-in match, and I love Ethan for it. He closed me out. I think I was getting towards the end of the day, and I was just running out of steam. In fact, I think he closed me out in a hole where we both made bogey, or something like that. I had ran out of time with 2 holes to play, maybe, or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but anyway, it was awesome. That Clive course is. I think people have said in the past that they think it's the easier of the 2 courses. I don't see that at all. It's definitely the more scenic, because there's more rolling hills, and there's these vistas, and there's flowers, and there's par 3s. Huge memory that I'm going to take with me forever on this thing is number 7, which is maybe the most picturesque par 3 out there. I think it was playing like 155. When I hit it, I said, it's pretty good. And we all got to see it roll what appeared to be like right next to the cup. I think it just missed dunking one by about a foot. And that would have been incredible, right? Ethan's a great competitor. Paul's a great competitor. We had an absolutely phenomenal day playing together. Regardless of the outcome, nobody cared. We were too excited, just having fun. And I think Ethan and I were caught up in a little bit of the competition aspect of it, but we were still just enjoying our time, right? Because when are you going to get to come back? I know I'm not going to, so maybe I will. You never know. Unlikely, though. Got to the end of the round. We all headed in, and everybody was there. Kind of got there around the same time, and I just started losing it. I couldn't keep it together. I was emotional as I think I could ever be about golf, but it's so much more than the golf. Alec and I, Alec, Captain Caution, and I were just hugging it out. We're two losers who live in Cleveland. Sorry, Alec. We're 2 losers who live in Cleveland who love golf, and we love THP, and we love the golf world, golf experiences, and I think it just got to the point where we were just overcome with what had just transpired the entire week, knowing that it was coming to an end, knowing that we were having to say goodbye, knowing that everything that these people do for us in this community, it just doesn't make sense. I think I told, I actually, gave Finley a fist bump. I told him, I can't, as much as I want to talk to you right now, all I can say is thanks. And I choked up and I fist bumped him. I said, I got to walk away because I'm a mess. And then I was standing across next to some bushes, and I just walked away over towards, back towards the course so I could take it in. And Alec and I took it in, Captain Caution and I took it in for a while, and went back, and I was talking to Luke, and I was fine. And I think he said, how you feeling? How was it? And I just lost it. I said, I don't know what my problem is. I can't keep it together. It's hard to talk about right now. It's so much more than a golf trip. Look, if you like golf, there's golf trips you can go on. and there's fun experiences you can have. Um, Everything that goes into this thing is so over the top that it's hard to fathom. And I know that everybody always says that, and I think from when you're sitting at home, you're like, wow, that's crazy. But, how can they outdo it every year? And so I didn't get to experience their year last year other than following along online. And I think that's maybe the beauty of it. Until you've been there, you don't understand the magnitude of all of this stuff, and the time, and the conversations and the beauty. It's unheard of. Yeah. Anyway, I better stop or I'm going to get more choked up than I am. So, yeah, that's it. It was insane. There's more to come. I got to talk about each person on our team, and I certainly have to talk about each person on Callaway, and I'll summarize the bus ride in a different video. But know this: there's nothing better. If you're a golf freak, if you're a THP believer, is that the right term? Actually, that's funny. I had a buddy text me and he said THP is a cult. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, it's a cult. I said, explain it. And he goes, you told me about this. I've always lurked around on THP since you joined, but I never had become a member. And this thing, because you're in it, very good friend of mine, he said, because you're in it, I'm following along and I'm in it. I'm all in. Let's go. And he said it's like a little cult, and so maybe that's what it is. Yeah, maybe it's a little Grandaddy cult. Grandaddy doesn't happen without THP, and the Grandaddy doesn't happen without Callaway Golf. So, until next time, love you guys. Peace.